What's up, everyone? Today, we're doing something completely different. I want to show you something that's been keeping me up at night. Something I found deep in the corners of the internet. We're not giving away money or cars today. Instead, I'm going to challenge you to something much, much harder. I'm going to challenge you to sit through what I believe are the 5 absolute scariest videos ever uploaded to the internet. Seriously, I had my editors watch these and 2 of them had to leave the room. This isn't a joke. These aren't your typical jump scare compilations or cheesy horror movie clips. These are videos that people claim are 100% real, and honestly, after watching them over and over, I'm starting to believe them. We've got everything from ghostly apparitions caught on camera to terrifying creatures and sounds that nobody can explain. Each video is more intense than the last, and I'm genuinely curious to see how many of you can actually handle it. This is a true test of courage. So here's the deal. I challenge every single one of you watching right now to make it to the very end of this video without clicking away. If you think you're brave enough, if you think you can handle the scariest things the internet has to offer, then don't move. Turn down the lights, put on your headphones, and let's see if you can survive this. I dare you to watch until the end. Let's get into it. All right, kicking things off with our first video, and this one is an absolute classic in the paranormal community for a reason. This footage comes from a group of urban explorers who were investigating an old abandoned hospital that was notorious for its dark history. They had been live streaming for hours, finding mostly dust and debris, when something completely unbelievable happened. They set up a stationary camera in what used to be the children's ward, a place where countless tragedies occurred. The room was empty, silent, and they were all in a different part of the building. As you watch the footage, pay close attention to the doorway on the far side of the room. For several minutes, nothing happens. It's just a dark, empty hallway. The explorers are talking on their stream, completely unaware of what their camera is picking up. Then, out of the corner of the frame, a faint, almost transparent figure begins to materialize. It's not a trick of the light or a bug flying past the lens. This is a distinct human-like shape appearing out of thin air. It looks like a small child, just standing there watching. The figure remains in the doorway for what feels like an eternity, a solid 10 seconds of pure chilling evidence. It's pale and shimmering, and you can almost see the wall right through it. The scariest part is when it slowly turns its head, as if it knows the camera is there, before fading away just as mysteriously as it appeared. The explorers didn't even notice until their live chat went absolutely insane. They went back to check the footage, and their terrified reactions say it all. Is this definitive proof of ghosts? I'll let you decide. If ghosts aren't your thing, maybe this next one will get under your skin. This video was uploaded by a camper who is deep in the forests of the Pacific Northwest, miles away from any civilization. He was filming a simple vlog about his solo camping trip, showing off his gear and the beautiful scenery. But as night fell, the vibe of his video changed dramatically. He started hearing strange noises coming from just beyond the light of his campfire, snapping twigs, and a low guttural growl that didn't sound like any known animal. He grabs his camera, his hands visibly shaking, and points it into the pitch-black darkness surrounding his tent. For a while, all you see is darkness, and all you hear is his panicked breathing. He keeps whispering, "What is that?" over and over. He shines his flashlight into the trees, and that's when we see it. For just a split second, caught in the beam of his light, are 2 glowing eyes. But these aren't the eyes of a deer or a raccoon. They're too far apart, and they're positioned way too high off the ground. The man freezes, and the creature lets out a horrifying shriek, a sound that is a mix between a scream and a roar. He drops the camera, and you can hear him scrambling to get inside his tent and zip it up. The camera is left on the ground, pointing at the tent, and you can hear the heavy footsteps of something massive circling his campsite. It bumps against the tent, and the man inside starts screaming. The video cuts out right there, and according to the Post, the camper was reported missing the next day. The camera was all that was ever found. Okay, this next clip is for anyone who was, terrified of dolls as a kid, because this is honestly your worst nightmare come to life. The video comes from a family who claims they inherited an antique porcelain doll from a distant relative. They thought it was just a cool, creepy decoration for their guest room, but, well, they soon started noticing some really strange things. Objects in the room would be moved around, and they'd hear faint giggling at night. So they did what anyone would do in this situation. They set up a camera to film the doll while they were out of the house. The video is a time-lapse, showing the doll sitting perfectly still in a wooden rocking chair for hours. The sun sets outside the window, and the room gets dark. It's like mind-numbingly boring at first, and you start to think this is just a waste of time. You're watching the clock in the corner of the screen tick by, showing it's almost 3 a.m., the so-called witching hour. Then, with no warning, no strings, no outside force, the doll's head slowly, mechanically, turns to face the camera directly. It's honestly one of the most unsettling things I have ever seen. The movement is so unnatural, so deliberate. It's not just a slight tilt, it's a full 90-degree turn. The doll's painted-on smile seems to get wider, more sinister as it stares into the lens. It stays like that for almost a minute before the video speeds up again. The family who posted this said they got rid of the doll the very next day, but they claim the paranormal activity in their house only got worse. This footage is their only proof of where it all started. We're heading back into an abandoned building for this next one, but this time, it's not a ghost we're looking for. It's something much, much darker. This footage was recorded by a paranormal investigator exploring a derelict farmhouse where a gruesome family murder took place decades ago. The investigator is using a full-spectrum camera, which can supposedly capture things the human eye can't see. He's walking through the decaying rooms, narrating the building's history, and the atmosphere is incredibly tense from the start. He enters the master bedroom, the main site of the tragedy, and the air immediately feels heavy. His equipment starts to malfunction, with his EMF meter going crazy. He points his camera down a long, dark hallway connected to the bedroom. At the very end of the hall, you can just barely make out a shape standing there. It's not a person. It's too tall, too thin, and it's pure black, like a void in the shape of a man. It absorbs all the light around it. The investigator whispers, "Did you see that?" As he slowly zooms in. The shadow figure doesn't move. It just stands there, watching him. There are no features, no face, just a terrifying silhouette. Then it takes one step forward, and its form seems to distort and stretch in a way that is physically impossible. The investigator lets out a yell and runs out of the house, not even bothering to grab his other gear. The video ends with him in his car, hyperventilating, trying to explain the pure evil he felt coming from that thing. For our final video, we have something that relies purely on audio, and in my opinion, it's honestly the most terrifying one of all. This clip was recorded by a pair of hikers who got lost in the Appalachian Mountains as night began to fall. They were trying to find their way back to the trail when they started to hear a noise in the distance. At first they thought it was an animal, maybe a fox or a coyote, so they pulled out their phone and started recording just in case. The sound gets closer and they realize it's not an animal, it's the sound of a woman screaming. But these aren't normal screams for help. They are filled with sheer absolute terror and pain, and they echo through the trees in the most haunting way possible. The hikers call out, asking if anyone needs help, but the only response is another blood-curdling scream that sounds like it's right next to them. They start to panic, realizing they are completely alone and something terrible is happening nearby. The most chilling part is what happens next. The screaming stops and is replaced by a sound that I can only describe as someone mimicking the screams, almost like a parrot, but in a deep, guttural, and mocking tone. It's as if something was toying with its victim, and now it's toying with them. The hikers, now terrified for their lives, turn and run, and the video is just a blur of darkness and shaking while the horrifying, mocking screams follow them through the forest. They never found the source of the sound. And that's it. We made it through all 5 videos. I have to be honest, my heart is still pounding. Every time I watch that last clip, the screams just echo in my head. I don't know what's real and what's not, but the fear in those people's voices and the things that were captured on camera feel disturbingly genuine. It makes you wonder what's really out there in the dark. What happens when the cameras are on in places they're not supposed to be? It's a terrifying thought, and these videos are the closest we might ever get to an answer. So now I have to know, did you make it through the entire video? Were you brave enough to watch all 5 clips without looking away or clicking off? This was a serious challenge, and if you're still here, you're officially one of the bravest members of our community. I want you to go down to the comments right now and let me know you survived. Also, comment which video you thought was the absolute scariest. For me, it has to be the creature in the woods. That one was just on another level. If you guys like this style of video, and if you want to see me explore more of the internet's darkest and most mysterious corners, smash that like button and subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. We have some even crazier, more intense challenges planned, and trust me, you're not going to want to miss them. Thanks for watching, especially if you watched it all. I'll see you in the next video. Stay safe out there.